Would anyone like to respond to what I'm putting forward here? What's your response to these ideas? James, do you want to?
I think it might highlight some areas where we really haven't put any effort into providing that support to the teachers. I'm not sure how long results that can with teams to assist in their planning, but it's something that probably I need to do.
Well, one of the things that we've been doing in the Gippsland work is we've got a version of this that the school leaders do. They say how they perceive how they're going. And the staff in the school say how they're going, and then they put them together and talk about them. It's meant to be a means of enhancing dialogue. So if we're wanting to have things moving on, you know, what will it look like? And all I'm doing here is presenting the Blaze and Blaze research. Now, I'm presenting theirs because to me it's the most practical. It's the clearest. It really says this is what it looks like. This is what instructional leadership looks like. There is no reason why this should be restricted to the school leaders. These could be precisely the activities that over a period of time, each of you as literacy leaders could be putting in place. So I'm really happy for anyone to respond. Alistair?
This seems to me, it all sounds fantastic, and I believe it wholeheartedly in terms of the research. It's just a question of time resource and where's it come from.
Yeah, the one key issue in all of this is what is it that's prioritised? Are discussions about literacy more important, and you weren't here earlier, but discussions about where to put the rubbish bin? And so, and we said earlier today, how important would an issue need to be if in fact a school leadership team prioritised literacy? How important would another issue need to be to distract you from that pathway? And that's a decision that needs to be made by the school. If in fact this can wait until later, sometimes it'll wait until later all the time. And so look, this has got to be taken seriously. Well, it's up to the organisation to believe how seriously they're going to take it. But if they're going to take it seriously, they need to. It needs to be shown. Yeah. That's fantastic. Yeah. And really using this as a way of establishing dialogue and building dialogue. We're using it I wouldn't be using this in an evaluative way. You know, in terms of, you know, wanting to say, well, hold on, here's your instructional leadership rating. I don't think that achieves anything. Well, it doesn't, Linda. I mean, it achieves nothing. But if this is used as a way of saying, where are we now? How might we pull levers on some of these things? And Alistair's point, how will we make time? I mean, would it be possible Alistair comes from a secondary school, would it be possible in a secondary school for a principal to actually say, I'll allocate 4 or 5, periods a week to spending time in teachers' classrooms? Well, if the principal does do that, or 10 periods where you come from a school where the principal has been a teacher and so is really in there doing it. So in those cases, there is a basis for talking about it. Now, at one level, this is the ideal, but until this becomes a practice again, things probably won't change so fast. And it's very hard as we've said earlier, for individual teachers to bring about change beyond their classroom, and even have even to have the change scaffolded within the classroom. Linda, do you want to say anything? Okay, any other points you would like to raise? Go on.
John, we're actually right in the middle of this. Our principal's just given out sent out an email to say I'm coming to visit every single classroom in the literacy block. We're in the middle of a couple of staff have already had the visit, and our principal has said that rather than be a fly on the wall and just sit and watch, she actually wants to be given a teaching group so that she can be also engaging and doing a lot of these strategies. And we've had mixed response. We've had half the staff embrace it and say, yeah, this is a great way of celebrating what I've learned and how I can move forward, and the acknowledgement from the principal. And we've had some of our staff absolutely petrified.
Yeah, yeah.
And really quite frightened at it. So that's where we are.
Yeah, and Kathy's bringing up a really important point, because I think there is going to be that reaction. Betty, sorry, Betty. But Betty's bringing up a really important point, and there are issues to do with how will it be used. So there's all that stuff we talked about, trust and respect, and all those things going on there. This needs to be seen as part of the overall professional learning of the organisation. I think, first of all, it needs to be negotiated with the staff that the leadership team does have a role in the learning of all children. And the
Listening to what you've said today and putting up some of those things, had I seen this 3 weeks ago, we would have set it up a little bit differently and probably can now go back and maybe preempt. But as I said, we've got two places and we're still evaluating and moving forward. And
Yeah.
It's been quite valuable. And then what we've had is, okay, so I've seen this is the picture I've taken, but now I'd like you to go and see X, Y, and Z. She's already reading those rooms, and I'll come back in a fortnight's time.
Yeah.
And that's exactly where we are at the moment.
So in Betty's school, and it's a school that really is moving forward, because I happened to visit there earlier in term 2, it really is moving forward. That's one way of taking the action further. I made a big deal in our first session of saying the more you can draw the school leadership into your work, the better. And I know some of you have mentioned you've really been involved in dialogue with your school leadership team about the literacy strategies. I think it's important that the school leadership can see that there's a window for being involved in it, and that it is really part of the role of the school leadership. The business of some staff responding negatively, I think that needs. I think the issue is negotiation. The issue of how you negotiate. How does the school leadership team negotiate their involvement in that? Because it's quite different from the role of being a manager. I mean, there are many roles a school leadership team need to handle, and this is only one of them. But for a long time, we've, particularly in some of the bigger schools, we've probably seen school leadership not being involved so much in the teaching and more in the management. And I think we've got to see that there are gains for everyone when this is in place. I'd like to leave it there if there's no other discussion and look at the NAP plan analysis. The